Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Cousin
Connection
Podcast. I feel like I have all the energy today.
I have some energy today.
My
okay,
coffee,
it's gonna get there.
My coffee was extra strong.
You had a coffee?
Yeah.
I had a coffee too.
Did you?
Yeah. It was alright.
I actually have a story time for you.
What's up?
It was alright.
Yeah.
Mine was extra bold, so I'm energized.
What happened?
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you know how I made the thumbtack over there fall?
Yeah.
And then it jogged my memory of one time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you guys know this, by the way. I am the youngest in my family between two siblings and my third unofficial sibling. Mm-hmm. I'm still the youngest. So I have younger sibling tendencies. Mm-hmm. And one day, Subhi really upset me. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to seek revenge in the most diabolical way.
Recently?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's way back.
I was about to say.
I think that the fact that it was like when I was a child makes it even worse.
Yeah.
When I tell you what I did. So we used to have a bunch of thumbtacks at home because we had a bulletin board in my bedroom and his bedroom to like pin shit on. I don't know. My dad got it for us.
Yeah.
So I wanted to inflict pain on my brother. So
you were sadistic. Okay.
I took a thumbtack.
Yeah.
And I put it like upside down right in front of his bedroom door so that he could step on it.
Who are you? Like the Home Alone kid? What's his name again? I don't know. Kyle?
Kevin?
Kevin, yeah, Kevin.
So I'm like patiently waiting in my room.
Yeah.
You know, just like waiting to hear him scream so that I could do that evil laugh, like mess with me one more time and see what happens.
Yeah.
The wrong person stepped on it.
Who stepped on it? Was it your dad?
It's my mom.
Your mom?
And then I heard her scream and I was like, oh,
did she ever find out?
Shit. Of course.
Oh, no. You gave up that easily?
No, my brother was a snitch. Because she stepped on it and she was like, oh, why'd you guys leave this? Like, why'd you guys leave it lying around?
Yeah.
He's like, we didn't. It was Sara trying to get revenge on me. And I looked at him.
Snitch, Subhi?
Snitches get stitches. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, your mom was the one who got the stitches this time.
Yeah, I honestly felt like it wedged right into her heel too.
Isn't her heel too?
Because she stepped on
Actually,
it.
her heel's not too bad. You know, it's like acupuncture at that point because he got that callus over there.
That thumbtack is thick. Okay, the needle.
Yeah.
Just thinking of the pain of like stepping on a thumbtack is excruciating.
But, you know, the thing is that like the feet are weird in that you can like step on things like and cut your foot. It doesn't feel as bad because I remember as a kid jumping on a bed. You remember this? We were jumping on beds and there's a nail on the bed. I don't know. It came out of like maybe one of the posts on the bed. And then like as we were jumping, it like perfectly landed straight and I stepped through it.
No.
And I got a nail through my foot.
Well, I don't even remember that.
Huh? We were like kids. Like enough kids, small enough to where we could jump on a bed. That was the thing.
But why was there a nail on a bed? That's scary.
Oh, no, it like probably came out, you know, it's a kid, you have posts everywhere, okay? It just happens.
I guess.
Every once in a while, a little screw will come out, especially with how much we were jumping on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure she was fine. You know, that thing,
she was
it
fine.
has a stopper on it.
It just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, flashbacks. I was like,
yeah, because she ripped down half of our whole green screen
setup. Wasn't half. It was literally one corner. One corner just went boop. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a violent way to start this episode.
You know what else happened this week, Sarah?
What happened this week?
Well, that didn't happen this week, but you know what happened this week?
What happened this week?
Someone just turned the big 3-1. Yay! You didn't want to make a thing out of it at all. Okay. Well, we definitely made a thing out of it on...
We need to ask him about for that video because...
Yeah.
I feel... Okay, so last year, if you guys remember, we were in LA and we... Like, I think that was probably one of my favorite birthdays ever. Or the favorite. But we had like a surprise picnic on the beach. We did like Disneyland the next day. Like it was just a really fun, wholesome time.
Yeah, this year was a lot more tame.
This year I was like, it's 31. Like that's not a cute age. Like I just don't care.
But you know, a few days before, I messaged about. I was like, we got to do something. Literally the next day, Sarah's like,
hey, so we have a friend who's actually going to be making some plans on Friday.
And we're like, they got to it before us. So we're like, okay, how do we like make up for this, right? We were trying to figure out what we should get. And we were like, should we just get a cake with the name? We're like, that seems kind of like basic, whatever. Or like, I don't know. It's hard to, the thing about cakes is that like, if you're going out in public places, it's just hard to like give it away.
Yeah. Okay.
So the place that we were going to was in the West End, and I work out in the West End. So this is just something kind of related to the story, but it's kind of out of it.
I feel like I should tell this story.
Okay, go ahead.
Because of how, like, I'll give you my perspective and I'll give you Amir's perspective. Okay, so to interject into his story,
my like friend, a story before the story I'm getting.
Yeah,
to.
so the week before my birthday, my friend's like, "Hey, what are you doing Friday? Let's hang out." And I was like, "Okay," and it was somewhere in Mississauga, so I'm like, "Sure." So I messaged the rest of them and said, "Hey guys, are you down to go to?" I think the place is called La Mille, but I was like, "Are you guys down to go there?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." So I was like, "Okay, cool." I get the time that she made the reservation for. Like, and it was honestly just like a casual non-birthday event. Like, it was just like, let's hang out on a Friday night. So I'm like, okay, guys, she made the reservation for 8 p.m. Nabat goes, okay, how many people? Like, she said, okay, for how many?
Just to interject, okay, I did not see that initial message, okay?
Ow.
I don't know. You guys wrote a lot of stuff in between, okay?
It was 2 messages.
Don't you guys do that? Like, sometimes when you're part of a group chat, you kind of skim it, or you check, like, the most recent ones to get the context of what's going on?
Only guys do that.
Okay, continue.
And you do that in our text, too. So if I need you to pay attention to one thing, I'll only send one message, wait for you to reply, and then send everything else. But Nabat, after I tell her it's for 8 p.m., she's like, okay, cool. For how many? Because I wanted to bring my sister. And I was like, it's for 10.
Okay. And to interject again, so when you're in a group chat or you're looking at messages and you don't have that context of the previous one, if someone says, oh, the reservation is for 10, would you not assume that they mean 10 p.m.? Okay, and you know what? Just to be devil advocate, I'm like, why the hell would they have a reservation at 10 p.m.? But you know what? I didn't want to ruin a good time for them, so I didn't want to question why they were so late. I was like, okay, 10 p.m.
You know, when have I ever made a plan after 8 p.m.?
It technically wasn't you who made the plan, so I was like, okay.
But 10 p.m. to go out for dinner is wild. Like, unless you're on vacation.
Yeah.
Because I did that one time, actually.
See?
10 p.m. reservation. But that was in Portugal, so that's different. But still.
Well, it was a weekend night. It was a Friday night, you know?
I was yawning at 10 p.m. I was so tired. But then, okay, leading up to the day, Amir messages me. It's like 7:50-ish, right?
Yeah.
7:50.
Okay. And I'll like take it from here, okay? So like what's happening on my side here.
Yeah.
So I was working out in the West End, right? And because I didn't want to drive all the way back to the East End because I live in the East End, but I work in the West End. I was like, let me stay around here. I'll go to the gym. I'll get the supplies needed for what we were gonna do for Sara, and then I'll go to Nabat's place, which is a little bit closer to the spot. I was like, we'll chill there. Because another thing that I saw in the messages was that they're like, okay, we'll meet at 8. They didn't say we'll meet at the restaurant. They said we'll meet at 8 and then we'll leave from there. With the context in my mind that we had the reservation at 10 p.m. So what receipts. I was assuming at that point was that we were going to meet at Nabat's place at 8 p.m. We were going to chill there for 2 hours. And I was like, oh, perfect. We can, give her what we wanted and go from there, right? And then we would go to the restaurant for 10 o'clock, right? So I finished my workout at the gym, and like the place I wanted to go to closed at 7. So I was like, oh, quickly, I made it there at 7 o'clock. And then I was like, you know what? This 3 hours until reservation. I'm kind of hungry right now. Let me get a meal. Stop showing your phone, okay?
Receipts.
Okay. I was like, you know what? Let me get a meal real quick. So like I went to a spot, like I got some food real quick. I was eating it in the car. I drove to Nabat's place first. This is around like 7:45. I was like, I'm early, I'm just gonna eat in the car right now. She was still getting home, so I chilled in the car. I ate there, and I was like, okay, I'm just waiting everything. And I'm messing about. I'm like, hey, are you home yet? And she's like, yeah. And like at this point, she didn't question it, right? She's like, yeah, I'm home. And I was like, okay, so like, can I come up? And she's like, come up. I was like, don't you want to go directly there? I was like, oh no, we're here to like chill, right? We're gonna be waiting here. And then I think she still didn't understand what I was saying. She's like, oh yeah, you can come up and wait here, but and until I leave. And then I was trying to like put 2 and 2 together. Because
is that when you messaged me and said what time?
You sort of at that time, right? Because at that point I was like, you know what? Actually, there's like 2 hours left. I still have like 3,000 steps to get in for my 10K a day thing. I might as well just go to the gym. So I messaged her. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to go to the gym again. And like, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to change. Because I was still in my gym clothes at this time. I was going to take a shower. I'm going to change. I'm going to get my steps in. and then I'm gonna head to the place. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, I think at that point she's like, the reservation's for 8 p.m. I was like, what? That there's no way, right? So then I think that's when I messaged you, being like, when is the reservation for? And while I was still in my gym clothes, I immediately just like put in the GPS location and started driving there. I was like,
did your heart drop though?
Yeah, because in that time I was like, okay, now I have to figure out how I'm gonna change. I'm gonna look somewhat presentable, and like how I'm going to set up the things
cake.
I got for you. Yeah. So I like drove across. So there's across the street from the actual restaurant, there's like a big open parking lot for like some, not industrial, but like, you know, those office buildings, right? So I drove into the darkest corner of that place. And if anyone pulled up, they would see a guy half naked in the middle of a parking lot at like 0-degree weather.
Oh my God.
Trying to change into like somewhat presentable clothing.
Yeah.
So I did all that. I got back and then I drove into the place acting like nothing happened.
Now let me tell you, okay?
Yeah.
I have to read you the messages because at this point, I don't know how you misread this. So Nabat first on Thursday goes, should we make reservations? What time are we meeting for Friday? I'm like, let's meet for 8 p.m. It'll give us enough time to make it over there after work.
See? Okay. Even that makes it better. So she said, it'll give us time to make it over there. So when you say, well, let's meet at 8 p.m. You think, okay, we're going to meet at her spot or at a certain spot at 8 p.m. Let me finish, okay? We're going to meet at a certain spot at 8 p.m. And then we're going to drive to the spot when the time of the reservation has begun or like when it is.
Okay, you know, I scrolled up a little bit to get context.
Yeah.
I see why you keep referencing chilling at Nabat's house because Wednesday I'm like, are you guys down to go to La Mille on Friday night? Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to go. So I'm like, okay, cool. In Mississauga. They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Then Nabat offers her place and goes, we can hang out at my place after.
That's what I saw.
After, if we finish early. That's what she said. After. She did say after.
But then I think someone said before or after that or something like that. There was something about before. Okay.
Then she messages on Thursday and saying, okay, so what time tomorrow? And I said, reservation's already been made. Let's meet for 8 p.m. at the restaurant.
Do you say at the restaurant?
I said, let's meet for 8 p.m. It'll give us enough, like 8 p.m.
It'll give us, no.
It'll give, I was justifying why I made it 8 p.m. because it would have said 7:30 if it was like Scarborough or 7 even. But because this is in Saga and we're all like kind of East Enders, I was like, it'll give us enough time to make it with traffic and all that. That's why I said 8 p.m. And that's why I gave that explanation. Then Nabat replies and goes, okay, I don't know how much she put it for, but I'm going to bring my sister. And I said, she made it for 10. So we're all good.
She made it for 10.
10 people! She literally asked about her sister.
But like, I thought at that point, I didn't get the context of the previous message.
Okay. Then she's like, okay, cool. Case closed. Friday comes along. So she's like, my sister isn't coming anymore. How many people are coming today? And I was like, if everyone actually shows up, then it's going to be 8 people. I literally said that. Then I also specified this isn't a birthday thing. It's just a casual hangout because I know y'all. Okay, and I thought you guys actually took it seriously when it seemed like a casual hangout. I was like, okay, no embarrassment. Then she goes, okay, I was gonna say y'all can chill at my place, but if it's a bunch of other people, then just leave it. And I was like, do you mean after the fact?
So I missed the middle context. So when she said that, I thought you meant you can hang out at my place, so we'll wait here and then go to the spot.
Yeah. And then Friday at 7:46. I get a text from Amir. Is the reservation for 8 or 10? And I was like, I was confused when I got that text. I'm like, that's such a big time difference. Like, 8 or 10? And I was like, LOL, 8. We're almost there. And he goes, why did I read 10 before? Why did I read 10 before? I was like, oh no, I meant for 10 people. I knew exactly what you were referring to. Then he goes, oh, okay. Then I'm like, I just know Amir is somewhere far away from here.
Thankfully, when I said that message, I was literally like exactly 15 minutes away.
But I was like, he actually showed up at like 8:02. Then I was like, how did you get here so fast?
I drove so quickly.
It was so funny. It was actually so funny. But then, you know, we're hanging out, we're eating, we're having a good time, like just vibing, you know? And then Amir gets up and disappears for like a good...
Wait. Before even that, okay? So
the plate
to give
thing?
Context,
because I was like, what the hell?
So we all get to the restaurant, And like as we're like, you know, chilling, talking everything, the whole time in my head I'm thinking like, how am I gonna get like the cake here? How am I gonna set it up? How am I gonna get it in? All those things. I'm trying to think of those. We were actually eating. We got our food.
Yeah.
And typically at a restaurant, like after you're done your plate, even you as an individual, when you're done with plate, the server usually will come around and they'll take your plate, and eventually they'll like slowly start clearing the table, right? That was not happening at this spot.
Oh, and
yeah,
they randomly, this place randomly starts playing, you know, that like
Happy Birthday,
that Arab remix of Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
So I'm just looking around like, oh hell no! I told these guys not to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking around. Nothing's coming.
There's so many pump fakes with that.
Yeah, like nothing's coming out. I'm just like, okay, we're good. Like,
and that was weird because like they kept playing the song.
Yeah.
But no one was like, there was no. I didn't hear any birthday cheering. No, nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing. Like they just randomly had it on their playlist.
I think they just had it. But the thing is, they had it on their playlist like 4 or 5 times. There are so many pump fakes there. Kind of helped our case, honestly.
Yeah, but then like, you know, the anxiety calmed down. I was like, okay, it's like they're just playing it. Maybe like they told them like, oh, it's her birthday, so they're playing it. Whatever, it's fine.
But as that's going on, like it was getting late. It was getting to the point where Iman, who was also there right next to me, she's like, okay, like I think I'm gonna leave, guys. And this is at like 9:30. I was like, Iman, no, like. Just wait. I didn't tell her specifically because I didn't want to like say it out loud so you could hear. So like, no, just wait like maybe 30 more minutes. Just 30 more minutes.
I heard you say that and I was like, yeah, it is kind of getting late. We should probably go.
Nah, see? So I was trying to like push it because it was the food was sitting there, or the empty plates were sitting there for a good like
30 minutes
40 minutes or something. So to the point where I started doing their job essentially. I started like cleaning up all the plates. You probably did. I don't know if you even caught on why I was doing that, but like, because I typically do that stuff anyways.
Yeah.
So I was like cleaning off all the plates. I got Tupperware for us. Myself, I got Tupperware for all of us.
Oh yeah.
And like put it into the containers.
But I just like, I didn't think anything of that.
Yeah, because like typically usually I do that stuff anyways.
Yeah.
So thankfully that helped. So I cleared off the table. I put it all in one big pile. Everything was in one pile. Still no one came. To the point where eventually I just had to call one of them and be like, hey, can you guys take this? I was going to take it myself, but you guys stopped me at one point. I think it was you or someone tried to stop me. And I was like, okay, let me at least get someone. So I got someone. They took the plates, or they took the bigger one.
Yeah.
But there was like a stack of unused plates and utensils on the table, right?
Yeah.
Perfect size for, you know, what I thought we needed for. And then the guy came by and he was about to pick it up. And everyone was like, oh yeah, take it. I just like interjected. I was like, I actually no, just leave it here. Just leave it here. And then, and because everybody else was so confused, they were like, why would you leave? We're done with eating. Why would you need these plates? And like, I didn't want to say it out loud to give it away, right?
Yeah.
To the point where like, I was trying to tell him to hold it. And he was so confused, the guy who was picking up, that he started like speaking to one of our Arab friends in like Arabic, being like, what's wrong with this guy?
Like, am I not understanding him?
Yeah, like he thought he was misunderstanding me or something on it. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give up this battle because I feel like we can still make it work, right? So I let him take the plates. So now the table's empty. Everything was ready to go, and I just didn't know like how to make this seem very like nonchalant, like, oh, I was going to watch or something. So I literally just got up and walked out.
But like we all assumed, like I genuinely assumed you went to the bathroom until you were gone for like a long period of time. I'm like, damn, like the food ran through. Like, is he okay?
To give you context there, so what I did eventually, or what I did for Sada, is that I got bunt cakes. I don't know if you know what those are. Nothing bunt cakes. So they're like these little mini cakes with like this like streams of icing on the top, and I got like a pack of the cupcakes that they have, or the buntit cakes, whatever they call them, and then I got 2 bigger ones. Yeah. And I got like these 2 big candles that said like happy and birthday. So I put like one happy on one cake and birthday on the other, and they had like those wicks for the candles, right? So I ran into the car. I like opened up the trunk. I set it all up to make it look nice. And I was sending pictures to like Nabat and Iman to be like, how does this look, guys? How does this look? Because I've never done this before, right? I was asking them like, how does this look? So they're like, okay, it's good. It's good. And I was like, are you guys going to come out and like help me? And they're like, no, just like, you know, come to the entrance area, like right outside. And then you can light them up and come through. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and make that work. I was already nervous. I was like, I'm going to try and make that work, whatever. So I bring it to the exit, or the entrance, I mean. And I'm like standing right outside. and I'm trying to light these things, and they gave me candles, thankfully, at the bunk cake place, and I was able to light them up. But the moment I picked up the box, they all went out immediately. So then I start like frantically messaging everyone at the table. A couple of them actually messaged me, be like, "Hey, do you need help?" And then I messaged back, "I need help." No reply. So I was like, you know what, F it. I'm just gonna go hella slow.
The thing is, I think when you first walked in, Anwar actually blurted out. He was like, "Hey, what's Amir carrying?"
Why?
So I'm like, "What?" And I couldn't see you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Where is he? I don't even see him." And then you were still gone for another like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, he can't have brought something.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. He had told him not to.
You know, Q and me, like, first off, there's 2 sets of doors I have to get through.
Yeah.
So I'm holding this thing, literally breathing on it, makes candles go out. Moving more than a step gets the lights to go out. So I'm taking half steps. I'm like creaking the door slowly, walking in. And then, of course, everyone's going to notice in a restaurant when a guy walks into the place with 2 cakes with candles on. So like initially, everybody looks over me. Everyone in the restaurant looks over to me. A couple of them start singing happy birthday.
Yeah, like a
clapping.
slow singing. And I'm just like, like mortified. Like I'm starting to sweat.
Yeah, Sara's getting nervous. I didn't notice this because I was like eagle eye on these candles, trying to make sure they don't go out, to the point where I was going so slow that everybody awkwardly stopped clapping and stopped singing.
It literally went silent in this restaurant. Like it was so awkward. And
I was taking half steps closer and closer. I got so close to the table, guys. I got so close to the table. And then I took 1 full step. Like 2 of the candles went out on the happy. And then because that went out and it was such a like ridiculous situation, I started laughing. And from my laugh, not the rest of the candles, almost all the candles except for 1 went out.
Like 1 on the side was still lit. And he puts it down.
At that point, I was like, F it. I like quickly ran to the table, put it on the table in front of her, and thankfully, I don't know how, it didn't go out.
We were laughing so hard that like laughing in that whole situation thankfully took away my nervousness.
Yeah.
But I was like, because Nabat was like, why is she starts recording.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew him. And she's like, why is he walking so slow?
And she took a video, and when she realized how slow I'm going, she starts like hysterically laughing.
The whole video was just her laughing.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get it from her and she can.
Yeah, I need to get that from her.
Put it here.
I forgot to repost that. I saw the thing in the morning.
Me too.
But I was tired and I just forgot to repost it. But yeah.
It was really funny. But thank you guys. That was actually like, I get so nervous whenever the attention is on me. Like I would rather it be on somebody else.
Thankfully, the embarrassment took away my embarrassment took away the attention.
It was actually so funny. But yeah, those cakes are really good. They're really cute. I like them. I didn't even know we had like more than 1 location.
Of what? Oh, yeah. Place. They have like 3 or 4 of them. Apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and that's why actually the bunt cake place was near Nabat's area. Mm-hmm. But the annoying thing is that I had it in my head, I was like, oh, I'll go to the bunt place cake. I'll go to Nabat's place and we'll do our thing there. And then we'll go to the restaurant, right? And the most annoying thing is that the restaurant was like literally 1 intersection away from where I was. So I could have went to the cake place, gotten it, came back, went to the gym, chilled everything, took a shower, all of that, and then went straight to the restaurant, all within like plenty of time. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it
is. So this week we were wondering what was happening. For those of you that are actually following the war on Gaza. Mm-hmm. I feel so weird saying Gaza, but whatever. Anyways, for those of you that are following it, obviously there are prominent people on social media right now who are posting live updates as things have been progressing and escalating. Subhi Taha is one of them. He's actually been posting about Palestine for like years. He's half Palestinian, so obviously like he's very passionate about that. Another person who posts frequently about it is someone named Sean King. I've been following him for a couple years now, but I was first introduced to him during the BLM movement. And he used to post a lot about that. And then there was actually some controversy surrounding him around that time. Do you remember that?
About his background?
About like basically
There's always been controversy with him. That's what I've known.
Yeah, so like at the time that he gained a huge following, like he's always had a pretty big following, but it's been growing over time. And during the damn, that needs some oil.
Yeah. I was hoping you didn't hear that. I think
that's so loud. During the BLM movement, he gained a huge following, and he started doing like GoFundMe's, especially for the families of victims that were murdered. Yeah,
or
they
affected. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were impacted by gun violence or violence on the African American, mostly young adults and even older ones too. And so he would like start these GoFundMe accounts to raise money for the families and those that are impacted by it. And people were accusing him of like stealing the money or using it for his own personal gain. He, at the time, to prove himself, he actually showed receipts. Like he proved them all wrong, and he was like, I'm not using this money for myself. Like the GoFundMe for those specific people is used for them. I think some people don't realize that when you have like an NGO or a nonprofit, you also have to raise money for your
operating costs. Yeah,
because if your job is to help people and provide like free legal advice or whatever it is that he's doing, the money has to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like he probably I don't know what his day job is. That it could be this, but he may be raising money for his own organization as well. But some people have a problem with that. And so this week, Subhi made a post. Basically, to summarize, he was saying that we should be amplifying Palestinian voices only. And although the support from people outside of the Palestinian and or Muslim groups is appreciated, the quote that he used was that you should always be louder than the oppressor, but quieter than the oppressed. And so he was saying, he listed like a bunch of usernames of mostly Palestinian journalists that are either in Palestine or have like direct contact with those that are in Palestine. Sean King was not on that list. And so in the comment section, people were really like basically spelling it out. They're like, oh yeah, there's this one particular social media person who has a subscribe feature on his Instagram that's a little shady. Like he's just using the Palestinian struggle to gain popularity on social media. And he kind of went in on Sean. Sean responded and basically said what he's always been saying, like he is someone who stands for social justice. And he's always going to speak up about the Palestinian struggle, no matter what people say. And he was saying, but just because I speak about the Palestinian struggle doesn't mean I can't speak about the what's happening in Congo or what's happening in North America or what's happening to like anyone really. Like he's going to speak up about whatever he feels like people need to know about. So I wanted to know, like, I'm not sure if you saw Subhi's post.
No, that ironically enough, that's the one thing I didn't see from him. Like I feel like I've seen all his posts.
So I'll tell you, like, because I actually briefly had a conversation with my brother about it too, but I was kind of like, Subhi also made a post maybe like a week or two ago, and it didn't land well with his audience. Like it just kind of came off a little, like I think he's obviously experiencing a lot of emotions right now. He's very high on emotion. And although he's a great source for information, sometimes I think when you speak from emotion, like negatively, it can impact the message that you're trying to convey. And although, yes, we want to amplify Palestinian voices, I don't think there's anything wrong with other people speaking up on it too. Like we're not Palestinian and we're speaking on it every single week. We're going to, and I told you guys, you know, we did a TikTok live last week and spoke to those that were in the room with us, that as long as we have a platform, we're going to continue to use our voices in the way that we can. You know what I mean? And so I can understand what Subhi's trying to say, but I just feel like now's not the time. Like now you need all the support you can get. Like people are finally starting to wake up to the truth. Why are you going to stop the momentum?
Starting to sound like me from last week. I'm just saying.
Hello.
I'm pretty sure I said that exact same line last week. Yeah.
I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure we came up with a clip that said that exact same line.
Did you?
Okay. It's like, you know how they say don't talk about like family business outside, or like if there's any issues within the home, don't kind of like let the outside people know, because then once people see division in a group that should be united, then I think they're going to start to like feed off of that and try and create some type of schism there. So right now it should just be a united front. I don't think we should be showing any division within the community right now, like especially if the goal has not been reached. Sure, maybe afterwards you can start critiquing certain voices, and it can be up to debate whether those voices are worthy of the critique. But right now you should be showing as a united front.
I think his thing was like, if you're going to speak on Palestine, like that should be the only thing you speak on, like really emphasize it. But it's like, come on, Subhi, like let's be a little realistic here. You can't just expect him to only speak, like that's a little, I don't want to say contradictory, but like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like Palestinians are not the only ones struggling in this world. Yeah. And that's not to minimize what they're going through. Of course, what they're going through is horrible. And, we don't have direct family ties to Palestine, but we still feel their pain. But that doesn't mean that you can't shed light on what's happening in the rest of the world. And I think, I don't know, I just feel like he's kind of going about it in the wrong way. And it could just be due to the high stress and emotion that he's feeling. But I don't agree with him.
You said there was another post that also didn't go as well. Was it this one?
This one was on TikTok, and I don't remember exactly what he said, and I'm pretty sure he deleted it because I'm trying to find it here to see if...
Is this the whole clip?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to watch this one then.
Okay.
Just a reminder, in case we're forgetting, there was peace in the Middle East before Israel was created. It's not a coincidence that in 1948, chaos broke out, and it hasn't stopped since then. Okay, it's not a coincidence that just so happens to be the year Israel was born. If you were to lay out all of the issues in the Middle East, from then until now, there's one common denominator. It's Israel. It wasn't the best of times because we were still under colonization with the British and the French, but things didn't get real bad until 1948. I mean, prior to British colonization, I'd say things were better when we were under the Ottoman Empire, but definitely post-48. It sounds obvious, but I think we often are fed so much crap from Western media, especially if you grew up in the West, where you were conditioned from a very young age to believe that all the problems in the Middle East stem from Arab and Muslims, because we are terrorists, we are innately violent people, and they have to bring the modernity, civility, and democracy to our people. So in case any of us have a little bit of that propaganda stuck in the back of our head, this is a reminder that things were fine before the white people came over. And when I say white people, I mean all European colonizers, Israelis, British, and French. And as a Muslim, I can't help but connect the dots. These are the people that Allah talks about in the Quran. This is what He warned us about. These kind of people who say that they're here for peace. They're really here for corruption and theft of power.
In the context of just Palestine, that makes sense because, at that point they were occupied. But I don't know about the whole Middle East.
That's why people were upset.
Yeah.
So basically he was saying like the Middle East was peaceful prior to 1948 when the Nakba happened. And a lot of people that are from the Middle East, but not Palestine specifically, were like, hello? Like, the Middle East does not just consist of Palestine.
Yeah.
What about all the conflict? Like, they've been going through it.
But also, I believe like there's actually a sheikh who called this out recently, but like the Muslim countries went through like a kind of revolution, or like they went more secular after like in the 1960s. They kind of stopped going off of the Sharia laws and started going more towards secular ideas and like Marxist and like socialist, or is it socialist or communist? Socialist ideas. And the sheikh actually said that like this is what caused the downfall of the Middle East by leaving the Sharia and choosing
like secular laws.
More as laws based off of opinion rather, or philosophy versus your religion. And that was also what led to the downfall and the weakening of the Arab states. So
that's an interesting thesis to have.
No, because he quoted, he said, I don't know the direct quote, but essentially he was saying like the Prophet Muhammad said that anyone who strays from the laws of Sharia will be damned essentially, and will be destroyed, like he said the word destroyed.
If this ummah goes far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah sends an enemy that will destroy it. That's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So, with how things have gotten since that change or that shift, he said it kind of started in the 1930s specifically, or like
the Sheikh.
This move towards secularism and more socialist and Marxist ideas started more in the 1930s. And if you follow the trend of like how things have gone since then, including what happened in Palestine, then you kind of see like how he can derive that
That theory.
That theory. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think that at a time where we need to be united.
Because just to give it's not some context, but from my history or what I've heard from Sean King, like he has had a very controversial past, not only like with this Palestine, but like with almost any movement he's been part of, because he has been called out for being like a leech when it comes to social justice issues and trying to profit off of them. And also like, especially when it came to the Black Lives Matter movement, people were saying that he's not actually black and he's like claiming to be black and he's actually white. He's basically pulling a Rachel Dolezal.
He's not white.
Huh?
He's not white. He's light skinned, but he's not white.
But people are saying like, okay, like where's your dad and like,
oh my god,
show us your ancestry, all those kind of things. And I believe he came out with posts trying to prove that he's actually half black.
Isn't that so crazy? You're just trying to speak up and do good, and people are like, where are you from?
Yeah, see, so that was a big issue a couple years ago with the Black Lives Matter movement. So that was my introduction to him, right? So I didn't know, like I already had a somewhat negative connotation, or not connotation, not opinion, but like perception of him. But when I heard that he was supporting Palestine, like I was like, you know what? Hey, I don't know what you've done in your past, but I'm here for it, right? If you're looking to the leaders of these worlds that we already hate to begin with to support your cause, then I don't think we should be judging the smaller people who we might have some issues with, but if they're supporting cause, right?
Yeah.
Because eventually, like, if you want the leaders of other countries that you probably disagree with on a lot of things to be to be supporting your cause. So, any support you can get at this point will be needed, and will hopefully help you. But that sheikh that I was listening to also mentioned that like at this point it's like we gotta just rely on Allah. Yeah. Which is a good reminder. Like once everyone, his theory is that like once more people rely on Allah and Allah only, that's when true change will come.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest lessons that I think the whole world sees when seeing the Palestinian people basically being like obliterated, like they're missing limbs, and you know you're seeing babies that are like their oh my god, their head is cut open and they're not even crying. You're seeing mothers and fathers losing their children. You're seeing children losing their parents, and people still, even in that type of like extreme calamity, they're still saying Alhamdulillah, we're alive. Like Alhamdulillah, these people are being martyred and they're dying as shaheeds. Like I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about it, because their unwavering like reliance on Allah is so inspiring to the point where so many people have then, especially the non-Muslims, like have been so curious, like how, like they can't even fathom that level of patience and reliance during that type of situation, that it inspired them to read the Quran. And like we said last week, like there were Quran book clubs on social media, which then inspired them to look into Islam, and they realized the beauty of Islam and realized that, you know, this is the way of life that we should be following. And how many people have embraced Islam now? Yeah. You know?
Can I say something? I'm going to say something very controversial. I'm glad that this movement is also exposing certain Muslim leaders. I'm going to put a small quotes there. Wow. Muslim leaders who are who have had power and like influence over the past like 50, 60 years they're finally exposing them. And you know, it's going to be very controversial. It's more in, you know, the Saudi region
Oh yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Saudi and all the like United Arab Emirates.
Yeah. I'm glad that people are finally waking up to the fact that the people who run our holiest sites are not the people who truly represent us. And you can clearly see that because they're having multiple accounts now where people are going to Mecca and Medina and are simply for just even making dua for the Palestinian people are getting locked up, are getting
in Saudi.
Yeah, there was a guy who said he was in Medina. He was in the Prophet's mosque in the Rauda, and he was making dua for the Palestinian people. Like he was making the general dua, but then also he
Like
mentioned,
out loud, you mean?
Yeah. Well, I think he was also filming just the Rauda, and while he was filming the Rauda and the mosque, he was making the dua. And then he said the moment he finished, 4 soldiers surrounded him, and they started asking him questions, like they're interrogating him there. And then I don't know if the questions just weren't sufficient enough for him, but then they took him and detained him for 6 hours after that, and then finally released him.
That's wild.
Simply for making dua. And then it was also there's this Instagram, I forget his name now, but maybe I'll put up the photo. But he came out with a story. Actually, he came out with a story near the beginning of the invasion or like the bombing of Gaza, speaking about how when he went to Mecca, he was actually detained for wearing the kafiyah. Yeah, just for wearing the kafiyah. He was like the Palestinian one, the black and white one.
Yeah.
He was just wearing it. He wasn't wearing any flags. He wasn't like doing any protesting or anything. He was just wearing the kafiyah, and he was his visa was immediately taken away from him, or he was detained immediately, and he was taken to like an interrogation room, and these guys were like, essentially, first off, they were like disrespecting the Palestinian people, and then they took his kafiyah away from him. They held his passport in his face, I mean, like, okay, we can like lock you up for a while, and like essentially they were intimidating him. And he said like it left a sour note, like in a place that should be the most holiest site in the world for us. Like, and these are the people who have been running Saudi for the longest time. And it's clear because there was that whole talk we had when it first popped off in Gaza, how the Saudi government was about to make a deal with the Israeli government for like, I think some oil deal or whatever.
There will come a time
to normalize relationships with them.
There will come a time where they will be held accountable.
Well, I think that time is more sooner rather than later because more people are waking up to it. And like the sects that they're part of, you know, I don't want to go that deep, but like the sects that they're part of are also being called out, thankfully. And thankfully, I mentioned this a long time ago where like, be careful of where you get your information, your Islamic Aqidah and your information from online, because unfortunately TikTok, it promotes the people with the most charisma and the most the most popular faces on there. But what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the popular ones. I don't know his name, but he's like the guy with the white hair, white beard, and blue eyes.
I think his name's Faris. Yeah.
Yeah, he's being called out now because I think his format was very popular because he was doing like more question and answer style where he would answer any question
exactly
and try to like appeal to Gen Z. But he started to get called out when he was saying that boycotting is haram.
Yeah.
And that we shouldn't go against what
boycotting and protesting.
Yeah. So I'm side-eyeing him. I mean, I was already side-eyeing him before for some
I already
things
knew
that
he
said.
wasn't. You know,
I know. But now I'm just glad that people are really like
waking up to it.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is like sometimes, and this is not necessarily, this is a more blanket general statement, but sometimes when bad things happen to you, or sorry, there's like a random fluff stuck to my lip gloss. When bad things happen to you, sometimes it allows you to see things more clearly and the truth reveals itself. In any context, really.
Yeah. Not only to you, to even just in general.
Because life isn't romanticized during horrible times.
Yeah.
You see things for what they are. And so when the truth kind of gets revealed and people are finally waking up to it, the only hope is that they remain, their vision remains clear, if that makes sense. You know, and you don't want it to be like, okay, once the hype dies down, people are just going to go back to their ways. Like, no, once you've been opened, once your eyes have been opened to the truth, I don't think you can go back from that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, this is another, I guess, silver lining to the situation. And I do believe like in the next like 30, 40 years, like the not the climate or like the look of the Muslim world will be very different. And thankfully the people who are trying to cause division in the Muslim community are eventually called out for it, and they are being called out for it, but like are kind of held accountable for what they've been doing for the past decades.
Yeah.
How many? Yeah. But yeah, that was just another thing that I want to mention there, because like, you know, with the thing like I mentioned with Hassan Minhaj, like he called out the Saudi government, and that guy literally got his show canceled. So I know this is a small thing, but you never know how things can get out there, right?
Exactly.
So, but that's I was definitely glad when I started seeing that, because I knew I didn't want to say it directly last time when I mentioned this months and months ago, of like who you're getting your information from, because TikTok, you know, it's a good source for like maybe building your faith and your iman, but for Aqidah specifically, you shouldn't be looking to a lot of these TikTok sheikhs for that kind of information.
Think of it this way. You're not like the same way that you are picky with, you know, who you want to date and marry, the same way that you're picky with who your friends are, the same way that you're picky with where you want to eat, the same way that you're picky with where you go to school and what degree you want to get. When it comes to learning your religion, like that trumps everything, because this impacts your akhirah. At the end of the day, you want to take the utmost care and responsibility in making sure that you actually get correct information, especially in a time where we live on the internet and anyone can post on the internet. Anyone can say anything and disguise themselves as a truthful and honest sheikh. Bruh, Santa Claus had a beard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't just trust anyone. And I know it can be, especially if you're new to acquiring knowledge, it can be overwhelming, because you're like, well, I don't know where to go. Find someone that you trust. And if you want to come to us, we will happily, you know, share resources that we've used even. You know what I mean? So may Allah make it easy for you guys. We're living in such a strange, like, I feel like when we were younger, we were always told about times like these, and we're like, we're probably not going to be in our lifetime, but we're living through it. And I'm just like, wow, like we've heard about this time for so long, and the fact that we're living through it now, it's kind of scary, but we have to just stick together, you know, as Muslims, like support each other in the best way that we can.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, exactly like she mentioned, you can always come to us for good resources as well, because we're not sheikhs ourselves. We're not going to try and like go out here and, you know, start posting TikToks on like
maybe we should get some sheikhs on here for our next Ramadan series.
But yeah, we can definitely direct you to some good sources.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we're always open to getting more too. Like if you guys want to share some with us, we'll vet it, take a look at it, and vice versa.
Yeah. And to move on to the next topic, I don't think we even mentioned like what's the latest updates in Palestine. Have we?
Have
so
not.
from what recently has happened. Sorry, did you have something else that you were okay? So from what we recently spoke about like last time, so the biggest, I guess, issue or the current situation was how they were surrounding the Al-Shifa hospital, and I believe they finally invaded the Al-Shifa hospital. And initially, before they got in, the IDF, the government, Israeli government, was saying, "Oh, they got tunnels, they got Hamas, they got all these things. This is their home base. You know, this is where they have everything. This is what they're calling all the shots, right? They invade this place. All they find was patients, babies, doctors who they killed half of them, and then they show these like clearly." Doctored or planted doctored videos and planted evidence of like, they're like, oh yeah, look at the CT scanner behind it shows like a gun and like some like a jacket and some supplies, and they're like, oh, this is all the stuff they had, huh? You killed 15 up to what is like 12 or 13,000 people for a couple guns and like some jackets and some ammo. It's crazy. Which was shown to be by the BBC to be actually planted there. This is the BBC, okay? If you say, oh, we need proper sources or whatever that means, okay, you got BBC going there and showing clear video evidence. This is what they showed to the people. This is the videos they came out with. And then this is what it looked like when we got there. And like initially in the video, it showed like, specifically for that CT scanner video, it showed like a bunch of like ammo and like a gun sitting there. But then when the BBC got there, they're like, first off, this bag looks different. And there's 2 guns now. And there's like some different items and it doesn't look similar. And then they actually showed the video that the IDF came out with initially, showing like, okay, this is their equipment. The guy's watch was in the video and it showed the date and time. And that video was literally taken like 3 hours before the BBC even got there.
It's crazy because like the Israeli government...
Oh yeah, and also there's no tunnels.
They receive millions and billions of dollars in support for their army. And the one thing that they just can't seem to get right is the propaganda that they keep trying to push out.
Yeah.
With their AI photos of crowds, which is hilarious to me. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah. That was a few weeks ago too. I think we even talked about that. Yeah.
Like, it's just... give it up. Like, stop. Just stop. I don't know.
It's clear what they're trying to do, right?
I know, but at this point, no, I don't think people are even believing them anymore.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing is that, like, no matter how much people don't believe them, they're going to continue doing it because they have the backing of all the countries, at least the major power houses in the world, right?
Yeah.
And like when it came to the evacuation of the Gazan people, they were telling them, oh, go to the south, right? So they can clear this area, get Al-Shifa, nothing in Al-Shifa. And then in my head, I was always thinking about this. I was like, if they tell all the people to evacuate south, what stops them from saying, oh, Hamas also evacuated south? And of course, what's recently come out is that they're starting to bomb the south now. And they literally bombed like a school the other day, killed like 200 plus children because they're saying, oh, now Hamas is in the south. It's like, okay, so where do you want the people to go? It's like it's clear that you're usually whenever you try a tactic and it clearly doesn't work like it did in Al-Shifa, you try and, you sit back, you see what was done wrong and you kind of change your tactics, right? They're not doing that. They're just continuing with the same tactics they've always been doing.
Because, Amir, I don't think their goal is to get Hamas. Exactly. Their goal is to kill every single Palestinian person.
Yeah.
That's like they are committing genocide.
Yeah. Or to expel them from the land completely. It's like they mentioned, it's a new Nakba, right? It's a Nakba 2023.
Yeah.
But it's clear that what their goal is just, I guess it's frustrating when you have all the media who's still going forward with the current narrative that they're trying to go after Hamas. When first off, there's also like no Hamas members that they found, from what I've heard.
To be honest, Hamas is probably comprised of IDF members. Like, that's probably a controversial hot take, but
I honestly, I don't know what I can't say anything about that because I don't know anything about like how the Hamas network works. Like, maybe they're not even in the country.
Who knows? I honestly have no idea. Like, what started off as a resistance group is now being categorized as a terrorist group when the only clear terrorists that we see here is the U.S. government and the Israeli government.
Yeah. But, they're the ones with the power currently, so they can fix whatever narrative they want, right? Or set up any narrative they want.
All we got to say is this life ain't forever, okay? It's only temporary. So those that are suffering, remember that. And those that seem like they're winning, remember that. This one, I feel like, is more Amir's style news. I don't know if you guys saw, but Apple is finally getting rid of their SMS, which means no more green bubbles.
Yo, I'm gonna be moving in silence now. Y'all won't even know. All you're gonna see is blue. You're not gonna know I'm gonna have an Android until you meet me. Okay.
So as you guys know, we've had this debate several times in the past.
But that's the thing. When we talked about it, Apple was always behind.
I think it was just their way of having like a one up on Android
but the
users.
ironic thing is that the technology they were using to have a one up on us was actually older technology than what we had. We had better technology. They just didn't want to update because they knew that then that would kind of not get away, but it would like
it wouldn't entice people to stick to iPhone only.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's a sad day.
They got y'all now.
But you know what? Now it's just creating a more inclusive environment.
Okay, chill. That's not. I'm sure they have another incentive. Maybe they noticed like their audience was dying, or I don't know. Because I don't. Is Apple still as popular as it used to be?
I hope not, because after what they're doing to the people in Congo.
Yeah. See. Well, that's kind of all phone manufacturers in general, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, I was like, I believe there was a company who came out with an ethical phone.
Really?
Yeah, I need to search it up. But there was a company who came out with a phone that like gets all its materials like ethically sourced. I don't know if it's like more expensive for that reason, or maybe it's just not as powerful. Because that's the thing you're giving up, right? If you want an ethical item, you're going to give up either like the quality, not quality, but like you're going to give up the price or like the power, because a lot of the chip manufacturers aren't going to change what their sources are from, right? So they're getting their chips from like a certain company who also who doesn't maybe have that same incentive to get an ethical source.
That's so crazy. Like just thinking about that concept. You're really out here exploiting. And I know this is like an ancient topic, but like you're really out here exploiting people just to manufacture some goods.
Yeah, unfortunately, in order for us to have this whole, you know, comfortable life that we currently have, in order to have all this equipment and stuff here, some people have to get hurt. And we know that's something we have to kind of,
That's
have to
crazy.
start giving up our certain luxuries if we want to continue to fight for the people who are currently like being unjustly used or abused for their labor.
Sometimes when I think about like all the tragedies in the world, I'm like, I wish I had a super power to just save everybody in the whole entire world. Like, and where would I start? I feel like I'd be the Krusty Krab meme where you're just like, where do I start? Like, you know, it's just like, it's a lot. I don't know. Like, I think for a long time or forever, really, like you kind of just, maybe we acknowledge it and we know it exists, like child labor and, you know, what's happening to the people in Congo, like severely unsafe working conditions, like they're barely getting paid. And it's like you learn about it here and there and you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to take the sustainable route. But then they price it really high and then you're like, yeah, well, yeah, obviously if you want them to receive a livable wage, like they're going to have to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, damn.
Yeah, but that's a very, very deep conversation that we're probably not prepared for.
I know, I'm not prepared for it right now. I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking about
Let's
it right
talk
now.
about iMessages. That's what it initially started as.
Well, the question that I have here is, like, is it too late for them to even make that switch over? Because, like, I feel like apps like WeChat or WhatsApp, Viber, like, they're doing so well.
Yeah. Like,
You
I
know?
barely use my Messages app to begin with. So this change won't really affect me at all. Like, I'm going to be using WhatsApp anyways.
I mean, I use my iMessage.
Maybe
other
so
iPhone
maybe they
users.
realize that like people are already sticking to what they're sticking to. So like even if they make this change, it's not really going to make a big difference.
I think last year or the year before they introduced FaceTime for non-Apple users.
Did they?
Yeah, so like if I wanted to FaceTime you, I could create a link and just send it to you.
Oh, so it'd be like a Zoom call.
Yeah, but I believe you have to download the FaceTime app.
But it's much easier just go on WhatsApp and just do that. It's literally the exact same. Like,
Yeah,
what's
but
the difference?
the FaceTime features.
What FaceTime
You
features?
could blur your background.
I'm sure that like WhatsApp probably has some of those features now.
No, I don't know.
Do they not? I haven't tried it. But like
Same.
for the most part, when are you using that kind of stuff?
Well, I FaceTime my nephews all the time.
No, I mean like the blurring the background
My
and all those
background's
things
blurred.
all the time. I'm sure WhatsApp has that feature. I'll search it afterwards. We'll see.
We'll test it out.
Yeah, we'll test it out. But yeah, I think they already have their audience. They know they have their audience. I don't think Messages is really a big thing anymore.
You don't think it'll impact WhatsApp or WeChat or whatever?
Nah,
Really?
not really. Yeah, because no one uses Messages. Like people are already
they-
using what they use right now.
Yeah, because it's an alternative.
But it's almost like it's better because Messages, is it not exclusive to like? Is it not just like it's like an SMS message? No. So like you can only use it within your country or whatever.
No. Because iMessage, I could message someone in the States and it's not considered a text message.
Oh, okay. So essentially, they just got rid of like, it's all internet basically.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I see what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Then yeah, maybe there might be some small changes here and there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be a huge impact. Or maybe there's certain like audience that I'm just not aware of that's been waiting for iMessages to become similar to all the other apps.
Maybe. I don't know.
Would it make you change?
No, I'm probably going to stick to my ways.
Yeah, like do you use iMessage for like more local people or use it for everywhere?
No, honestly, I feel like I don't really use iMessage that much.
You use WhatsApp more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Like, I think I use them like equally.
Mm-hmm.
Like iMessage, I feel like I use for like quick messages, like where are you at, whatever. But like WhatsApp is where I have like conversations.
You
know,
I wonder why. Maybe it's like a way they compartmentalize.
I mean,
things.
I know why.
Why?
Because WhatsApp has a better voice note feature.
See, exactly. There you go.
But iMessage has recently improved theirs. Because WhatsApp, like those who send voice notes, y'all know on WhatsApp you can like hold down the little thing and then slide it up and lock it so you could talk freely without having
do that.
Huh?
How long are you talking for?
It depends on like.
At that point, just call the person.
No. Call?
I guess so. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I wouldn't do that either.
You suggested to call?
No, I wouldn't. Sometimes I'll even like text out full paragraphs before I even do a voice message. There's one point where I was like messaging someone and I was going through like message after message and I was like, oh, I could just do a voice note. And then I finally did a voice note. I never do voice notes.
You sent a voice note?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was trying to tell someone a story.
See, like my rule is that if it's more than 2 sentences, voice note automatically. But I have voice note etiquette. You can't just send a voice note. You have to ask, can you listen to a voice note right now?
What? Oh, yeah. Okay, I see that. Yeah.
I've said that to you before. Can you listen to a voice note right now? But I rarely send you voice notes.
Yeah.
I feel like unless I'm explaining something to you.
Yeah. Whenever you have like an idea or like something we need to figure out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on to our last topic for this episode. I know y'all have been hearing about Cassie suing Diddy.
Oh, yeah. So I had no idea. I knew that Diddy had like a weird history. But I didn't know that Cassie was still with her like up until recently?
No.
So with him?
No, they broke up a while ago.
Oh, okay. For some reason I read it as like she just recently broke up with him and then sued him or something like that.
No, she's like married and has 2 kids.
Oh, shoot. Okay. I missed a lot of lore there.
Yeah, she like they haven't been together for a while, but
there's some crazy stories coming out about Diddy now. Like after she broke the dam or whatever you call it again. And now everybody's coming out with a story about Diddy.
Well, I saw this one comment. I can't remember what post, but they're like, I knew Diddy was shady when he started a label and he's the only one living.
See?
Like literally he had the label and like all the people that were assigned to him.
There's a lot of talks about like how he would put these guys into like 360 deals, take all their money, and they'll be like left in the dirt basically just.
But you know who this impacted the most? My brother.
Really?
Don't you remember how big of a Diddy fan Subhi was?
Yeah. People said like he looked like Diddy at one point, no?
Yeah, he I have this one photo of him.
Oh, the baller one, like the one he's wearing the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how with the 2 guys next to him.
Insert it here. Don't worry, I'll blur out their faces because I know he's gonna be like, how could you put them on the internet? Yeah. But he's fair game. No, but yeah, Subhi. I feel like his heart was like, you know, when you find out.
How did he not know? I feel like he knew something because these rumors have been going around for years.
Yeah, but I don't know if he pays attention to them because he's like a diehard. You know?
Is he still a diehard?
I don't think he is now.
Yeah.
But like. When I tell you, my brother loved P. Diddy
for the longest time.
All of his clothes were Sean John. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That phase? Like anyone who knows Subhi is probably laughing while listening to this because they're remembering him at that time. And he's probably so mad and like angry texting me like, why you gotta put me on blast? But I'm putting you on blast. Yeah, like I actually felt like the first time I heard about Diddy being kind of sus, I think I told you this, but like I was reading these. What are those? What is it called? Like, what are they? Conspiracy theories or just like rumors or whatever? But
yeah.
You know how Usher kind of discovered Justin Bieber before he signed to Scooter Braun? So apparently, the same way that like Usher was Justin's mentor, Diddy was Usher's mentor, and would do some questionable things to him or.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too.
Stuff, and then there's this one video where Diddy, it's so strange. Like I have to show it to you. It's really weird, but the wording that he used, he's like, he has like Justin Bieber who looks like he's like 12 or 13 at that time. And he goes, I have custody of him for the day. And he's like, yeah, we're going to do like a teenage boy's dream. And then,
what?
Yeah, like it was just so weird. Like I just, I don't even know.
One of the major rumors is that like Diddy's like definitely into guys and like has been doing some weird stuff with,
and he has like these parties.
Yeah.
And
there's actually a story that came out with that involved Wale and Cassie.
Yeah, he hung him over the balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Oh, he
that
just
one.
gave away the end of it.
Oh, my bad.
I was like
But like, I think he was like obsessed with Cassie.
yeah.
And
He was very controlling of her.
yeah.
Like everything she did. And the thing is that like that's why people are like maybe he wasn't into him. He was just into like controlling women. It was a weird thing, but he was really into like guys the whole. Okay, allegedly into guys the whole
yeah,
time.
this is all alleged.
Yeah,
We don't
it's
know
all
the truth,
alleged. But from hearing all the like deals, like you mentioned, all the like bad deals he put people in, it was coming for him, right? Like you can't really do all these things and treat people like you know what like crap and not feel like there's gonna be some type of like recourse for it. What goes around comes around.
I'm sure that when you have that much power and you're doing like shady things to people, you would be stupid if you don't have them sign NDAs. But I'm pretty sure NDAs are not like they only have a certain time frame, right? Like they're only valid for a certain period of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because no one would sign a lifetime NDA. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think like people were saying like Cassie's NDA probably like finished, and so she decided to finally press charges. Like she's brave enough, good for her. But what I noticed was that a lot of celebrities were
no, NDAs can't stop you from pressing charges though.
Yeah. That's the one exception to the rule. But yeah, so like a lot of celebrities were showing their support for her publicly, which I feel like is not always the case. In the past, when celebrities have spoken up about abuse of any sorts, they're either gaslit or just like no one believes them, except for like when the Me Too movement began, then people started to kind of take it more seriously. But this time it was like she came out with these like to the point where her the court document had a trigger warning on the first page, and then the next day the news breaks that they settled privately.
Really?
The next day, yeah, they settled. Meaning like they came to some sort of amicable agreement. Yeah, they both released press statements.
He must have like threatened.
No, I think what happened was he knew that if they went through with this court, with the case, that all the details were about to come out and his reputation would have been absolutely destroyed. Like there's no coming, like the same way that R. Kelly.
Yeah.
So I think he probably, because she sued him for 30 mil, I'm pretty sure he wrote that check instantly and was like, here, shut your mouth.
Yeah. Well, I think that because he loves money, I feel like he might have done something more shady, because there have been rumors that like he's actually the one allegedly who like got Tupac set up and it wasn't actually Suge Knight. And then like there's also allegedly rumors that like he's the one who set up Biggie because he knew that he would make more money off of him being dead than alive. Yeah. So, these are all alleged. Okay, just rumors. The internet be talking.
Crazy.
But, after hearing all the things, you're like, okay, this guy, if his only goal was to be successful and he had money and he didn't really care for people, I'm kind of saying like, even though he came out with a whole tribute song to him, he might have been part of it. But, that's all rumors. But someone who may have done those things or is rumored to have done those things, it wouldn't, to be too far-fetched for him to actually be involved in like maybe some type of threatening, of Cassie and being like, hey, you have 2 kids, it would be sad if something happened to him. That husband would be sad if something happened to him.
I don't think he threatened her kids, because she could just call the police.
Police, what are they going to do?
No, but I mean, like, I'm sure she went about this in a way that she probably had protection of some sorts. Like, there's no way he threatened her and got away with it. She definitely wanted money.
Someone that controlling, who's literally about to kill a well-known artist for simply like speaking to and making a song with someone that he wasn't even like, was he with her? Or like he was, with her, I guess, Cassie at the time.
Wale wasn't with her. It was...
No. Wale wasn't with her, but was Diddy with her at the time? I think he was, right?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah, so for him to do that, like, how if he actually did throw him off, right?
Yeah.
So, because I'm pretty sure that he was, even if he was threatening it, he could have made it look like it was an accident.
But as controlling as he is, I'm sure he set that up too, like for her to work with him. I don't think she would do things without his knowledge. Like he for sure knew. I think he just...
So there's just been so many stories coming out that I wouldn't put anything past him, especially if it was the day after. Like someone doesn't come out with something that traumatizing and then settle the day after. Like there's a point where money doesn't make up for the hurt that someone caused you. Like you want that person to feel what you felt in a way, right? So Like,
But it's funny because after the news of them settling came out, his lawyer had to make a statement basically saying, like, just because we settled doesn't mean that Diddy's guilty. We just came to an agreement. And I'm like, it's not looking so good for you right now, Diddy. You know, you're looking a little guilty.
We'll wait till a documentary comes out then.
Surviving Diddy.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure, you know, that's right on Netflix's tail right there.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. But if people are going to come out with stories about him, I'm sure they would probably wait until he's locked up, because that's like, he's actually really scary. Like, that's terrifying.
See, so, you know, threatening her might be an actual possibility. I'm just saying, possibility.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he paid her. He paid her. Like, I
would you settle for that much money if you came out with these allegations? You felt like someone ruined your life, abused you, and did things to you and the people you know? Like, would you settle for that kind of money?
I don't know if money would give me the same satisfaction as in them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would personally an eye for an eye.
Nah, I don't want
Except I wouldn't just settle for like just death sentence. I would want them to be tortured.
Okay, you're starting to sound like a certain group that we really don't like now. Okay, we don't go that far. Okay,
don't compare me to them. I'm saying someone who, like, that type of person, like Diddy, deserves everything bad that happens to him and more. He deserves it for 100%.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, torturing.
I'm not gonna say
exactly.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do it.
See, Sada might have a darker past than you think, guys.
I'm innocent though.
Oh god, but we'll finish on that. You know, on Sada being somewhat sadistic, and
I'm not. What do you mean? I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree with me.
No, a lot of people definitely have that like revenge bone in their body.
I normally don't.
Yeah,
but for something like that, like to the extent that he has like abused her, like, that's insane.
Yeah, but you know, we'll leave it up to the courts and well, at least now it's actually done in the court, so I don't know what's going to be.
Yeah, because he settled.
Yeah, we'll wait for the documentary, like I mentioned. But until then, hopefully you guys enjoyed half of what we talked about today. If you did, make sure to put a like on the video, subscribe if you want to. You can follow us on our socials if you want. You know, if you want. I'm just saying, on Cousin Connection Pod everywhere, basically.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're just here to watch and have a good time, then we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.